Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
Boing.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard. This is the Barbecue Central Show. We talk about all the live fire barbecue and grilling related items that you could possibly want to talk about right here on this show. We are effectively live, and we are back and better than ever with a brand new Behringer XR18 mixer. For anybody that's thought, how can I help the Barbecue Central Show? I'll stroke Greg a check for $5,000, $6,000, $10,000. I want to support the show. Here's how you can do it.
Boing.
A bunch of you guys get together, accumulate your funds, go to sweetwater.com, send them a message to Tommy Heil and say, as a collective, we want to buy Greg a mixer on standby, whether that comes in June or July. You want to help me?
Jimmy Burns from Malvern, Ohio. And
Right,
you're
Jimmy?
listening to Barbecue Central.
Sorry, Jimmy. Anyway, that would be thanks enough. A bunch of you guys getting together and ganging up to buy a additional mixer, because as much as I want to hold out hope, maybe we'll build a wall. Probably we won't. There's a really good chance coming down the line that this thing is going to get pissed on again and it's going to break. You know it. If I know it, you know it. I don't want it to happen. I don't want there to be cat piss on my floor anymore. I'm at a crossroads in my cat life, and I don't know where to go from here. Alan, I might try the spray, but I feel like a hostage. I feel like if I spray the spray that the cats don't like, they're going to get pissed off and they're going to pee in other areas. And then what? Smoking Joe's Pit Barbecue put a mouse trap on your mixer. I don't think that's going to work. Only if they step on it first. Then that'll teach them. But then, again, I go back to being a hostage. I don't want to piss them off. Go, hey, that a-hole put a mouse trap on the mixer. It was on my paw. Now I'm going to go ahead and pee all over the mixer doubly. I'm a trapped man by these cats. I don't want to make them mad. I just want to keep them at bay. Trail cameras first. I think that way we can try and figure it out. Of course, now that I've gone on and on ad nauseum about this, that cat is never, whichever one it is never going to piss in this house again. And you know that that's the truth. By the way, the show originating from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
Still to come on the show this evening, Doug Scheiding of Rogue Cookers. We'll be talking about his time this past weekend at the San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off. We also say good evening to those of you watching this show tonight through one of our streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook and Twitch/BBQ Central Show to watch. You can also watch this show via YouTube/RD Rempe. Little update on the weekly YouTube poll that we have come to like. The question currently is, have you ever cured egg yolks before? And 77% of you are saying no.
Get that big stuff out of here.
There was a time about 10 or 15 minutes ago, maybe it was a little longer than that, we were almost at 50-50. And now no is really running away with it. 77% saying no, only 23% saying that they have. Now that I know you can reach in and grab egg yolks right out of cracked eggs in bowls, I might get into more of the curing, soft curing. I don't know if I want like hard curing, but I'm interested enough to try it out. Maybe in some of that hot sauce stuff, maybe in the salt like Jess Pryles had talked about last year. I mean, why not? good enough for me. You can put it on my steak or my chicken, add a little flavor. It's got egg whites are probably more protein, and the yolk is probably fat, but that's all right. So I can use a little bit of fat here as we work through 29th week of David Leans, which we'll talk about here in just a second. So, again, 77% of you saying no, you have never cured egg yolks before. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this Friday, episode 268, taking you back to February of 2018. And in this episode, a longtime friend of the show and a pellet cooker pioneer, Ed Fast Eddie Maurin. Featured on this week's show, we discussed a bit of his passion for, believe it or not, Baja racing. I'm not a car race guy specifically. I dabbled in NASCAR when I was also in the airline industry before I thought blowing my head off was a better idea than quitting that job. But Baja racing is a thing, and Fast Eddie was real big, probably still is real big into, but he was actually in the car and racing. He had won 3 races in a row at some point in 2018, probably 2017, bridging into 2018. So he's a driver and quite an expert. So he's into that. We talk about it. Also, we talk about where the pellet cooker market was sitting back in 2018 and where it was poised to go. And I don't think Eddie missed the mark on that at all. Also, we talk about the best features of cooking with pellet grills, regardless of manufacturer. Eddie's an all-timer. He was a successful competition guy when he was doing it. He was a major success in the building of pellet cookers. If you've ever heard of the FE or the FEC line of cookers made by Cook Shack, that's Eddie's cooker. For years, he was paying a royalty to the original Traeger for their auger system because that's what made Traeger a powerhouse initially, was they had the patent on that auger system. Joe Traeger realized he should be patenting that and then cornered the market for 10 years. Certainly nothing as big as it is now, but Eddie was paying him a royalty to use the Traeger auger in his FE cookers. So major success there in the pit building, and just a great ambassador for both the pellet cooker portion of the industry and barbecue in general. So you can see Eddie selling a new brand of pellets, I believe. The website is off of memory, grillingpellets.com, if I'm not mistaken. Check me out. Double check me if I'm wrong. If I am wrong, shoot it up in the chat room so I can make sure that I give it out if you're looking for a new brand of pellets. I, of course, recommend cookingpellets.com, but if you're looking to have a number of varieties, I believe it's grillingpellets.com is Eddie's site. So the bottom line is this. Friday show is going to be great. If you've never been introduced to Eddie before, a good way to do that. And I have to get Eddie on the show in 2023 because it's been too long. So I'll look to do that as well. By the way, if you want to hear a past guest or segment again that might be lost in the archives, email John and let him know what you would like to hear, JON@thebbqcentralshow.com, and he will do his best to meet your expectation. One of my favorite things over the past number of weeks has been what? ChatGPT, and talking about it, trying to integrate it into the live fire industry. I'm not going to not do it. I'm going to impress upon all of you the importance of getting to know it and use it and work with it so you are not behind the curve. It doesn't have to be specifically related to the live fire industry, but that's what we're covering, so I'm trying to figure out where it fits in. ChatGPT specialist, the official ChatGPT specialist of the Barbecue Central Show, Carlos Martinez, who sent me some things last week, sent me more things to analyze when it comes to this technology as of today. Now, you might recall last week, Carlos sent me a note that ChatGPT was listing me as the creator of AmazingRibs.com. Not true, by the way. It also said that I've been in the live fire industry for the last 30 years. Also not true. It also said that I was regularly consulted for opinions, interviews, and thoughts on the industry. True. Well, we now have more things to look at and consider as it relates to ChatGPT and live fire. So, Carlos inputs when asking ChatGPT, quote, what's the best BBQ podcast? He got this in reply. Barbecue Central Show, hosted by Mark Lambert. Mark which focuses on all things barbecue, including cooking tips, product reviews, and interviews with industry experts. I don't even know where Mark Lambert as an option for the host of the Barbecue Central show even happens. There are 20 other names that I could think of that could be more correctly wrong. Is that a double negative? They could be more correct, could be more wrong, correctly wrong than Mark Lambert. Mark's been on the show a couple times. He's a wildly successful business person within the industry and obviously a competitive cook, world champion. But not host. Also, Barbecue Beat, hosted by Meathead Goldwyn. No. Which covers a wide range of topics related to barbecue, including recipes, techniques, and interview with pit masters and other barbecue experts. So ChatGPT, a little redundant on what these shows are covering, roughly the same. It is correctly listing the Barbecue Central show's number 1. However, my name is not anywhere mentioned as host of the Barbecue Central show. It's Mark Lambert. Oh, and Meathead is host of Barbecue Beat. By the way, rest in peace, Barbecue Beat. If you didn't know, we say it with peace and love. Kevin not doing any more new episodes, at least for now. Maybe that'll change in the future. We'll see about that. Our pal Doug Scheiding is in the green room, ready to rock and roll. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you about the last 28 weeks of the David Leans program. You could only see the rippling muscles underneath this pullover that I have to wear because outside it's 19 degrees here. Yes, sir. I have a little heater off to the side of me, which you probably heard running last week because I had no processing. You know, I was sans new mixer. Well, 28 weeks ago, I was not fat, but I was out of shape. I was a little doughy. You ride in the car, making sales calls, the gut would shake. It really hasn't been a thing for me. But look, I'm getting older. Wasn't really watching what I was eating. Certainly wasn't working out at all. I was what my wife calls an unhealthy, skinny person. And I wanted to change it. So I said, hey, David Leans is a sponsor of the show, David McDowell. Why not put him to the task? Let's sign up. Let's have him put a program together. Let's see if he can turn me into something I'm looking for. But we're going to do it at my pace. We're going to do it with the equipment that I have. I'm not looking to go out and buy hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of stuff. Let's see if what he's talking about in the ad is for real. 28 weeks later, 100%. Has he made programs for me workout-wise with only the stuff I have? Yes. Have we varied those workouts through the weeks to make sure that muscle fatigue is happening and proper development is taking place? Absolutely. Has he asked me if I want to make changes to the diet? Yes. Do I? No. I don't want to change the diet. I know what I have. I live like this when I'm eating. I don't want choice. You need to sign up to davidleans.com/BBQ. That's davidleans.com/BBQ. Sign up, tell them I sent you, and then join. Join me and not be fat. I'm not shaming. Doug's next. Stick around.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central show.
This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. Whether you are a beginner or a professional, doesn't matter. It's a cooker you want to add to the arsenal regardless. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central show sent you, Amber and Noah out there at Pit Barrel Cooker. My guest in the second hour is someone you hear pitch in on this show the 4th Tuesday of every month, which was just last week. in the second hour during the Embedded Correspondent segment. He's the longest running embedded correspondent from Texas, and he's also a very accomplished competition cook, a contractor for Traeger grills. On top of that, he's a social media maven, especially when it comes to Instagram. He's also a Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famer. This past weekend was the ever popular and growing San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off, and Row Cookers was there to give it a shot to pull down GC. We race to the hotline and welcome back our friend whose name is going to show up incorrectly, but I'll fix that, Doug Scheiding. All right, Dougie, so this past weekend was the San Antonio Cook-Off, and for the folks, to give people a little background on you and I, you were first on the show talking about a world championship at Houston Livestock and Rodeo. And for the folks that are just kind of getting into competition barbecue, that are learning about the majors, this, that, and the other thing, a lot of people think KCBS. Some people think Florida Barbecue Association, although they've dropped a little bit more in popularity, or at least in visibility. But the one that always circles up every year, Memphis in May, of course, but then Houston Livestock and Rodeo, and its own little monster and its own ecosystem. Not a lot of cash to win there necessarily, but big belt buckles and bragging rights and all that fun stuff. So that's how we met. And then we have this upstart little San Antonio barbecue cook-off that has continued to grow in popularity. Some folks that have been on this show a number of times have won it as well, and you decided to take your hand this past weekend and give it a shot. So when did you load in, and where did you start? Because I know it was a number of days of cooking.
Yeah, I actually, this was my 14th year to cook it.
Wow.
So I've that's back kind of when I started, and let's see, I loaded in on Wednesday. They started loading at 9 a.m. Wednesday. I was there at 9:45, and of course there were already two trailers next to me that I couldn't park my trailer in the right place, so in the back. But no worries. We've got 40 by 40 spaces, and I've just got a trailer that I've built out as my kitchen, and roll up my Traegers, and I pack it. It's like it's very packed with all the tents and chairs, and took my solo stove. You said it's 19 there, it's 30 here, so it's pretty cold for us here. And with the threat of ice, the sky is falling and sort of thing. So a lot of people didn't go into work today, but anyway, so it's 9 a.m. load in. I just dropped my trailer. I kind of like to do that, and then I came back Thursday around noon, and then that's when I started setting up everything and visiting with people. It takes me about 2 hours to set up. So Uncle Scotty, the local Traeger rep, came out and helped me do that. And then Thursday night, we kind of prepped a few things. The dessert turn-in was at noon on Friday. So we actually cooked on Thursday night. We cooked 2 desserts. And then also I did a practice brisket just for fun for the infamous buzzards that come out and eat our food.
The buzzards.
So, send the hate email to Greg Rimpey at
Doug at rowcookers.com. Give him all the hate email.
You.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah. So, I say that with peace and love, but
always.
But
Peace
anyway,
and love. Peace and love.
So that was exactly. Thank you, Ringo. So we did that on Thursday night and got out there Friday, kind of about 9 o'clock or so. The first turn in on Friday is the ancillary day. So they have 5 different ancillaries that you had. So we had,
did you do 11, all 5 ancillaries?
Man, I am the guy that has never met a category that I won't try.
God.
I will do all of it. It's not as bad as the Royal. Remember, the Royal is worse. It has, when you get the invitational, with the 3 turn-ins, and then you get all of those sides and sausage and everything. I think it's like 11 turn-ins at the Royal, but we just had 8 this weekend. But 5 in one day is still pretty a lot.
Yes,
a lot. But the Bloody Mary. I prepared that and turned that in at 11, and I'm not a huge Bloody Mary guy, but the Bloody Mary that I did make, I actually really liked.
What's the recipe? Tito's vodka.
Kind of. Let's.
Right.
Well, yeah, of course, Tito's vodka. Tito's was right. I was cooking right across from Tito's,
Oh.
so it would have been very, very bad. And they're a semi. I have a good relationship with them, so I exchanged some head country for a little bit of Tito's this weekend. But Tito's. Then I smoked Tito's. I smoked the mixer. So Zing Zang. If you've heard of Zing Zang,
Sure.
that's very popular.
Very popular.
So I smoked that, and I smoked the Traeger Bloody Mary mix. So I smoked them for several hours, and so did 3 cups of those of the combination of those, and then I added, of course, celery salt, some head country marinade, pickle juice and olive juice, some black pepper. I didn't add any Tabasco or horseradish because the actual Traeger Bloody Mary mix is actually kind of spicy, has a back end heat to it. So I backed off on any of that, and a little bit of garlic powder. So I think those are the main ingredients that I use.
And you're
So
mixing
maybe
Zing
I'm missing
Zang
one.
and the Traeger Bloody Mary mix together?
Yeah, actually, at the Houston Rodeo, they have an unofficial Bloody Mary mix and stuff. That's what we did last year, and we got 3rd overall there. So it's a pretty decent recipe that we use and stuff. This year, I added a little bit of olive juice to it just to kind of balance out the flavor, and it was pretty good. So that was at 11, and then 12 was
Wait.
dessert.
Let's not blow over Bloody Mary contests ever on this show. We need to dissect ad nauseum Bloody Mary contests. Of course, I don't give a shit about anything else. Of course, I want to know about the Bloody Mary contest. So for anybody that knows where I'm about to go here, put on the hate blockers.
I know where you're going.
If you don't like it. Was this a nonsensical ancillary where people were hanging, as I say, 100 pounds of food off of a pint glass, where Jess Pryles said it's an engineering project more than a drink contest? Or were you just, like, what did you put on yours? Was it simple garnish and the drink carries the day?
We're in Texas, and just like we don't garnish the damn box, we don't garnish the damn Bloody Mary.
You're kidding.
So there was nothing. No,
Yes.
I'm not kidding.
Thank God.
You could not. Exactly. Down here, that's how they all are. You can't have olives. You couldn't have olives in there. You couldn't even have ice in there.
Really?
So, or else you'd be disqualified. Yes. So it's a totally ungarnished Bloody Mary in a cup. Not a big, in the Houston Rodeo, we had to submit 32 ounces. It was just a big, it was incredible. So anyway, we hardly had anything left for us to cook. We didn't know it was that big, but it's just like the little, same as a bean turn-in cup. And you just have to fill it to that mark, and that's it. And no garnish, nothing. Yeah, if I had to garnish it, I might have to bow out because I'm just not. Just on principle, I just don't like those garnish things. So,
all right.
When sometimes they have margaritas and same thing, no garnish.
How do we do?
We placed we get 12th in Bloody
Out of how
Mary.
many?
I don't know how many. There were 288 teams total.
Holy moly.
At the contest.
Yeah, I'm sure half did it.
But I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure half did it. Wow. So we got 12th overall. Wow. So that was pretty good for us. So
even 12th out of 100 is really good. I mean, that's top 12.
Yeah, that was a major win, especially since I don't drink Bloody Marys. But this one I would definitely make again. In fact, I probably will. So I might improve on that. Who knows? I may have to work on that. But I practiced on it for a couple of weekends and prior to the contest and stuff. So, but yeah. Great Bloody Mary contest, so I'm in.
All right, so what other ancillaries are you taking part in?
Well, my wife, so dessert was at 12. So we had 2 desserts that we had cooked on Thursday night, and they were chilled cheesecakes. And she didn't do her normal, she's known for, at the Houston Rodeo, she's gotten 5 top 20, 25 finishes in dessert out of, either their 200 and some teams, 225 or whatever they have, and in with our bourbon, glazed bourbon,
bread pudding.
Pecan, no, not bread pudding. Sorry, bread pudding. I was thinking the pecan pie, but she did the pecan pie cheesecake at San Antonio. So she worked on that for a couple times, and had her work and some of my peeps taste it and do some things, and so it was really good. She toasted the pecans, and then she had a fudge brownie that's actually what we worked on a lot, is a fudge brownie crust. And it, one of them actually was like a supreme fudge brownie, and that actually crystallized. So we didn't turn that one because the crust was too hard. And then the other one, we just kind of cut off a little bit on the bottom and then turn that in. And so, it was damn good. Everybody that had pieces of it really loved it. And so, and she had gotten sixth when we were practicing. We always think bread pudding. And when we were, practicing, she goes, "Hey, what did I cook 2 years ago when I got sixth place?" And I said, "That's a good question." So I pulled up, of course, I have my journal,
of course,
and I pulled it up, and I said, "You cooked a pecan pie cheesecake."
Oh.
And she goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, "I wonder where that recipe is."
You don't have it on a tab on your computer somewhere?
No, I
really?
just had a, well, not the dessert stuff. She's not as OCD or organized as I am, shall I say. So she's more of a free spirit in that standpoint. And so she had combined a couple of recipes into one. And so I interviewed her. So I have a basic overview of what she did, but I don't have all the exact minute ingredients and things like that because she doesn't tell them to me. So anyway, so I always have to interview her after she has a good practice run. I interview her to basically take some notes and stuff like that.
How did the desserts do at the contest?
It finished 8th place.
Really?
So we got a top 10, and we got a banner.
Yes.
When you get to the San Antonio Rodeo, it's about the big banner. They got big banners kind of like this that they have, and so that's always the goal, is to try to get a banner.
Doug, nothing makes me happier when you're talking away from the microphone. I love that the most.
Do you like that? Good. I'll have to try that some more. I was trying to get this thing.
Look at that!
Off, but you get a big banner,
and it's got a cowboy hat on the top of that trophy too. Or was that's another trophy? That's a separate trophy.
The cowboy hat is part of the Houston Rodeo. That's a Houston Rodeo. So I just have the banners hanging.
I like the banners.
So.
Yeah, very nice.
But so the banners, and people, when you walk around, people hang their banners up. It's kind of a thing of prestige to have a banner and stuff. And so I've got mine hanging inside my trailer. So she got a 6th 2 years ago and got 8th in dessert this year. So pretty damn good finish.
What other ancillaries are there?
Believe it or not, we got 3 more. So we've got 1 o'clock. We had steak. So I cooked 4 ribeyes, and last year I got 8th in steak. But and I thought they were even more tender and better this year, but no top 10 for me this year.
Is that an SCA judged event or something outside of that?
No, it's not an SCA. It's just part of the regular judging. So they get the the Billy Bobs and Billy Janes off the. Actually, that's one of the big things, and we can talk about the scoring system either now or later. But that was actually one of the big changes from this year from last.
Because there was a fiasco last year, right? Wasn't Bill Purvis caught up in that last year?
Yes, he was.
We'll probably talk about that next week.
Yeah. So we'll you probably talk a little bit about that next week. But no, actually, we can talk about that in a bit. So, we can talk about it now, or we can talk about it a little later. So, in terms of the fiasco last week or last year.
Well, let's get through the ancillaries here, and then the regular cook. We'll see what we got left.
Yeah. So anyway, so 1 o'clock steak turn in, didn't place in the top 20 in that. And then after that, we had beans at 3 o'clock. So, beans are a crapshoot, but the payout in the ancillaries is better than the actual grand champion payout for the most part, because they split the ancillaries, they split 50-50. So all the entry fees, the house takes 50, and then 50% are given out as cash. So that's one of the reasons I enter them, because man, if you get the top 3 in one of those, the checks range from $600 to $1,000 for third place, and $1,600 for second. And some, I think the bean turn in, which has the most, was like 3,200 for first place, which is more than grand champion of the actual. Yes, for a $5.
I was going to say the expense on beans is nothing, so the return on that is huge. I mean, who cares if you don't get a belt
huge. Buckle? Exactly. So you get $3,200.
I'll take it.
You get the banner and $3,200. So that's always nice. And so we didn't place in beans, which isn't surprising. That's really a hard category, and almost everyone enters that. And then the last one was a chef's choice. You pick it. Meat, you can turn in whatever you want. So I did a lobster mac and cheese, and actually, oddly enough, after while the judging was going on, one of our friends came by and she said, "Oh, I just got done judging the Who Pick It Meat ancillary," and she goes, "Did you cook the meatball?" And I said, "No, I cooked the lobster mac and cheese." And she goes, "Oh, yeah, I hate lobster." And I'm like, "Oh man, you gotta be kidding me! Who hates lobster?"
My mom hates lobster.
So, oh god,
you can believe it.
So anyway, I mean, yeah. Anyway, the last time I did a chef's choice with mac and cheese, I did a brisket mac and cheese and got first place. So she was instrumental in probably crashing our dreams.
She was your death table.
Getting to the. She was our death friend.
The nerve! Wow. All right, so those are the ancillaries. And then we get to the big show, I would assume Saturday. And this is like a normal Texas stuff. So you're doing brisket, you're doing ribs, and you're doing chicken.
Yeah, it's chicken first turn in, ribs, and then brisket. So one of the things, maybe if I can talk about a little bit of the judging now. So the last year they had the big fiasco where IBCA, they made one error in a judge or something and it was left out. And so the grand champion, the reserve grand champion, was traded out for the third place finisher on Tuesday following the contest, which was incredibly embarrassing. And so it was an IBCA mistake, and their new scoring system. Part of what they did, because the San Antonio likes to have as many people judge as possible. So just because they're trying to get more people in the gate, that pay to come in,
of course,
and a little bit of the corporate greed there. But so anyway, IBCA changed their scoring system from 2 rounds to 3 rounds last year, just for the San Antonio Rodeo.
Wow.
Mistake number 1. They should never have done that. But anyway, and so that probably led to some of the issues and problems of the scoring last year. So of course, Bill got, instead of third place, he got reserve grand champion, and Larry, who's a nice guy, they actually kind of split some of the trophies and things, and split the aprons and stuff. And so it was a real congenial type situation, because Larry could have been a jerk about it and said, "No, it's my money, I'm keeping it." And no,
that's what
he
I
was real
done.
good. And then and Bill Purvis is, he's one of the nicest guys on the tour. And so yeah, it was only fitting that I told him actually beforehand that if he won grand champion, I would be very happy, and it would vindicate, and he would be able to go up in front of his peers and celebrate, which he missed last year.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if he didn't get grand champion. So it was fantastic. So, but anyway, so this year they chose LSBS, the Lone Star Barbecue Society, to do the judging. And you know how many rounds they had this year?
1?
4.
4? Oh my God.
4. The judging went on for 2 to 2.5 hours. So that's why they had the turn-in times were 10:30 for chicken, 1 for ribs, and 3:30 for brisket.
Holy moly! Does that screw with your normal program to cook?
Let's just say it screwed with me.
Yeah,
because I'm on a radio show on Saturday mornings, and so I was kicked back, relaxing, calling in at 9:23 for the show, and I was on hold, and I'm like, oh shit, turn-ins at 10:30, and I hadn't done jack with other than trim my chicken and stuff. So
what radio show are you on when you're at a contest?
During COVID, there's a radio show. It's actually a Backyard Bay bar pool and barbecue show that's on KSEV radio in Houston, Texas. It's an AM talk show. So anyway, during COVID, he asked us to start coming on and talking about barbecue for a segment that's probably 8 to 10 minutes long. So it's the cooks from the Wild Game crew that I'm associated with for the Houston rodeo. So we go on there and talk about different things. And so at 9:24 he comes on, and so he lets me go first. And I'm like, so I gave a little bit of an overview of where I was at, what I was doing. I said, and I'm sorry, I've got to go because I'm late.
Yeah.
Gotta go late. And so I got my chicken out, started to try to inject. Of course, the plunger, the washer, and the plunger didn't work, and so then I got my backup one, and then that would only pull about half of a tube. So I started injecting with that. So I only injected my chicken half of what I normally do, and then I cranked the temperature to 375 because I knew I was in trouble because I normally do 325 for an hour and 20 minutes, and I thought, okay, so I got my chicken on at 9:38. The turn in is 10. It was 10:30, and with the 10-minute window, 20-minute total. So I'm like, run, little chicken, run. And so I did it for 20 minutes, and then took it off the pit, added a little more rub, and then put it back on and just let that sucker go until the end. And so it topped out at about 157, and it had been there over a minute. So 165 is the FDA. Yeah. 160, 14.7 seconds, and 1 minute is like 55 seconds or something like that. So it had been at that temperature. So, and plus with a little carryover, it would take over. So I pulled it off at 10:32.
Wow.
Glazed it in a minute and a half, put it back on for 3 minutes to kind of set the glaze, and pulled it off at 10:38 and turned it in at 10:39.
You're kidding.
I almost.
Holy
no, I'm not
moly.
Kidding. Oh, and then we had a helper guy, and he was like, man, this is going to make a great story when you place in chicken. And he goes, it was so great to see you just work and think instinctively instead of overthinking things like I normally do, and so methodical and stuff. So he actually enjoyed seeing me fight the pressure.
All right, well, then here's the question. Where do you come in chicken?
5th overall.
Wow, look at me. Of course.
5th overall.
That's how it happens.
Yeah.
That's how it happens.
It is. It was. Everyone was telling me I was going to place in chicken. I was like, shut up.
Yeah.
And but it actually, I did one extra half after I did that because hell, I didn't have another turn until 1 o'clock, and the ribs were wrapped and ready to go. So at that time I was kind of kicking up. So I just did another one, and it did taste pretty good. So I might change my cooking style on chicken now, and I might practice it a couple times. But when I'm thinking a little more thinking about it. But it probably changed 2 or 3 things in my chicken cook.
So you said your ribs were already finished at that point. Are you normally holding ribs for a long time?
Well, the 3-2-1 method, as we know, is junky. But so I do 3 hours naked. I do 2.5 in foil. We cook to fall off the bone here, because remember
how big are the racks
here?
Like, what's the weight?
4 pounds. 4 pounds.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, so I turn it down. I don't do it so hot.
You cook them at 90 degrees?
No. It's about 250 or so. So it just depends.
Wow.
So just
2.5 hours in foil at 250?
Yes.
Doug, I'm not telling you how to cook your ribs. You're fucking those up. Holy moly.
I'm not, actually.
Wow.
No, I'm not.
Right, well, you know better.
The thing is, in Texas, they only have a fork and knife. They can't pick up. They don't get their own rib. We only turn in 9 ribs for 4 rounds, might I tell you. 4 rounds, 9 ribs.
They don't pick up their own rib?
No, they don't. They can't touch the rib. They can only touch it with a fork and knife. That's why it has to be fall off the bone.
Like, so do they pick it up out of the box, like with chopsticks?
No, you can't. No.
What?
You can't. You can't.
This is Lone Star rules, or this is how it is regardless of sanctioning body in Texas?
This is regardless of sanctioning body. You can't pick up.
Even what's his name's sanctioning body? CBA
believe so,
or whatever?
in Champions Barbecue Alliance. Yeah, Fred Robles.
Robles, yeah.
Champions. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's the same. So you
bizarre.
can't pick up a rib. It's fork and knife.
Why?
The CBA was
What is that all about?
because we only turn in 9 ribs, and we have.
What does that have to do with picking up a rib? Turning 2 ribs, you can still pick it up.
Well, yeah. So if you had a,
they're in a box, right?
IBC, yeah, they're in a box. But
you're passing it around. People are looking at it at a table, and they don't go and grab a rib.
You can't grab a rib. No, you can't grab a rib. You can only touch it with fork and knife.
Doug, move from Texas immediately. What the hell is going on down there?
Absolutely not. We're about to meet. But, and the box is so small, you couldn't get 12 ribs, even for a 2-round cook. So, I barely, because my ribs were pretty good. Mine were 4 and a quarter. But I barely got 9 ribs in the box.
Yeah.
I couldn't fit. I normally like to do, more on the bottom and then less on the top, but I couldn't fit 5 ribs in the bottom. I could only fit 4 ribs in the bottom. And then I put 5 ribs on top. So, but anyway, but they were some of the best ribs I've cooked in a year.
How did they finish?
They got a top 20 finish, so I was 18th in ribs.
All right,
18th in ribs.
Chicken was better, evidently.
But
you weren't under life and death pressure with the ribs.
I know. So anyway, in Texas, our scoring system's so screwed up with a lot of things. So you only get points for the top 10. So 10 gets 1 point, and number 1 gets 10 points. And so that's how they do the judging down here, which, so if you don't finish in the top 20, you have no idea if you were 21st or 288th. Unless they post, some of the tickets and stuff. So
chicken was 6th.
They may have done for
you were 6th in chicken?
Chicken was 5th.
5th. All right. So your
chicken was 5th. Chicken, so I got 6 points.
Your 20th in ribs?
18th in ribs.
18th in ribs. All right. What about brisket?
Brisket, I thought it was good, but not great, and I think that the judges agreed. So I actually cooked a couple of Wagyus. Normally down here, I've gotten a 2nd and a 4th in brisket at the San Antonio Rodeo before, but
were they the butcher shop briskets or no?
They sure were.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sure were. They were expensive little piggies.
Yeah.
Or little
Australians
little
are
steers,
expensive these days.
They are, but I'd never ordered from them before, and I did say Barbecue Central and got my 10% discount.
We love saving money.
Yes, and that's one of the things with the pork ribs. I had never heard of Prairie Fresh Prime ribs.
Yeah,
and so I ordered those as well. So that's why they were, and they hand pick it everything.
Just for you.
So I told them
I wanted. It says on the cooler, hand picked just for road cookers.
It had my name on it and everything on the meat.
Feel like $1 million, don't you?
I thought I took a little picture of that. I did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
King in the castle. King in the castle.
Rodeo.
Yeah,
exactly. I did feel a little special on that. So I'm going to order more for the Houston Rodeo as well. So, but what I did is I actually did. Everything's an experiment with me. So I did the 2 briskets, and I did 1 injected and 1 not injected, and just to kind of see, I think the Wagyu has a buttery taste to it, and I wanted to kind of see if I could get the buttery taste. So it had a little bit of that. The injected one just had a little offsetting flavor to me.
Oh,
I probably had 10 people in my camp at that time. Some of the buzzards that had come to chew on some food. So and so the vote was like 6-4, 1 over 2. And I did actually go with 1 because 2 had that little offsetting flavor to me. But, and then I turned that in. So but it did not place. It did not get a top 20. So,
so you don't know where it finished?
No, it could have finished 21st or 288. That's one of the things.
Chicken Fried Barbecue in the instant chat says Doug was 21st in brisket. Would he know?
Yeah. No, he's just saying that.
What a joker this guy is. What a joke.
That's awful kind of him. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah, everyone is 21st. You know, if you don't know,
That's right.
Everyone says they're
just
21st,
right off.
Right?
Must have just finished out of the month.
There's no proving it. There's no proving it.
All right, so
they call, that the last judging is 20 trays. So they have 20 bites. So that's why they call the final table.
When it's all said and done, where does Row Cookers finish? Out of how many teams? You said it was
288, I believe.
288. Or where do you finish?
And 14th. We got 14th
overall. Wow. Look at you.
Yeah. Not bad.
21st.
Not bad. Not 21st. I was a hard 14. So yes, I definitely was in the top 20. So that was good. So, and in fact, if I was like, I was rooting for Purvis, because he got I think Purvis got a third in brisket, and he had gotten a fifth in ribs. So he was up there in points. So that was like 6 and 8. So that was 14 points.
Yep.
And so a first place is 10 points. And so if I would have gotten a call first or second in brisket again, I would have won. But anyway, there's a lot of people, there was probably 10 of us that were in that spot. And, of the 30 places, first, second, and chicken, ribs, and brisket, of the 30 places, there were 28 teams called. So only Purvis and one other cook got multiple calls out of the multiple top 10s. So that just shows you that the level of competition was pretty unbelievable.
What was the best finish at San Antonio? You said you've been going there 14 years. What's your best overall finish?
My best overall finish is a 4th place. I got a second place brisket and a 16th place chicken that year. That's how I got kicked off the team.
Oh yes. Now we're bringing you back
alone.
Full circle. Best finish ever.
Yeah,
new team.
New team. Yeah, exactly. And it's actually interesting. Our buddy Chuck is going to come out with an article that should be very interesting soon.
Oh yeah, is he going to also promote smoked burgers on restaurant menus at the end of that article?
Oh, maybe so. I'm for smoked burgers, man.
So's Chud's Barbecue. He thought it was great. Thinks it's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm for them, man. If there's a good burger, my wife is a burger fiend. So if there's a good burger, she'll want to order a burger at a barbecue joint.
All right. Well, Doug has taken, and his wife, Row Cookers, let's say it this way, 14th overall at San Antonio. He was 21st in brisket, and no one can say otherwise. He was 18th in ribs and 5th in chicken, earning him a 14th overall, plus very well in the ancillaries to boot there on Friday. So anything else, Doug, you'd like to toss in here before I let you go tonight?
Well, one of the things about the San Antonio rodeo, it's always been it had been a smaller cook, more of a cooker's cook. And not as many people coming out, and it was just a large cook-off. And now San Antonio is going the way of Houston. So the last 2 years they kind of held, I call it the hostage fee, which people don't like on the barbecue committee, but they tell you, hey, you can reserve your spot for next year because we may sell out, and so you have to pay. You know how much money I pay? I added up all my expenses for this contest. Guess how much money I spent on this particular
Let me
contest.
Guess. Let's see. It's 3 days, 5 ancillaries, brisket there. My math is right. Doug, you spent $748 million on the competition this weekend. Right or wrong?
Few extra zeros on that, but I did spend $2,800.
Wow.
$2,800 for a one cook-off.
What did you win back? What did you win back?
I got I think I'm going to get $600. They don't give you the checks there; they mail them to you, if you can believe.
And you pay the postage, so you're a net expense of $2,200 after winnings, or a net expense.
Yeah, after getting 14th overall and getting 4 top 20 calls. So yeah, because in the ancillaries they only pay for 1 through 10. So like in the main categories, 10th place gets $100, 9th $200, and so that's how they go. Yes,
$100.
Yes.
Wow. Well, this is where the argument comes up then of saying, well, you're doing it because you like it. This is your hobby.
True.
If you were into cars, you'd be spending money on radiators and the Holley carburetors and wheels, but you're doing it on brisket. And then the other side, of course, is, well, this is how you lose competition barbecue teams, because you're spending $2,800 to do an event. You do fairly well overall, and in some of the ancillaries, and you're scraping back $600 out of $2,800. That's a continually red affair, which if you're just not flush with cash, that makes people pretty disenchanted pretty quick.
Or if you don't have a sponsor. So this year they didn't even open up the contest to cooks. They didn't have an open registration because they had so many people that paid the fee, like I did. And then what they did is they just locked it down and opened up a corporate sponsorship for $2,500. So a lot of corporations came in and bought 4, 6, 8, 8 of them, and then they had a big party. And then I think last year we had over 300 cookers that cooked in it. So they're going to decrease the number of cookers, but they're hoping those big corporate events, that put on events and have bands and things like that, will be like Houston Rodeo, where like in Houston Rodeo, our tent has an occupancy of 999 people.
Wow.
By the fire marshal, that's our occupancy. So, and it's packed every night. I'm sure it's a corporate event. But anyway, so that's, they're trying to get more people in the gate and raise more money for the kids and stuff. So, but anyway, it's it's going to be, in Houston, I think the tent that we cook at, they spend over $200,000 on the tent.
Yeah, that's big money
on the event.
Big
money. Yeah. They have a buffet every night, Papa, I want to say Big Papa's, but Papa's Barbecue, which is one of the more well-known barbecue places down there, food places. They do the buffet every night, and they serve 2 meals. They serve, one, and then late at night they've served, some brisket sandwiches.
Doug Scheiding is the pitmaster of Row Cookers, 14th overall at this past weekend San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off. Also did very well in the ancillaries on Friday, breaking it all down for us here. Your longest-running embedded correspondent from Texas, of course, rowcookers.com, his website. Follow him on Instagram, as the tens of thousands of you are currently doing. It's Doug Scheiding, and Doug will see you at the end of the month for your regularly scheduled embedded correspondence site.
I appreciate it, and just to let you know, my trademark is official. Suzanne let me know today that it finally came in and was approved.
Now, the question is, are you ever actually going to see the paper? Because she held that hostage on me for 3 or 4 weeks because she wanted to give it to me in person. I was like, just send me the goddamn thing already.
She's not giving it to me in person. She better mail that sucker.
Yeah, FedEx that. Stay on her for that to make sure you get it so we can show it off here during the embedded correspondence. I mean, Doug, congratulations again, and we'll see you at the end of the month.
Thanks. Thank you.
There's Doug right there. He carried the hour. I had a whole bunch of stuff in the open, but a lot of good breakdown there, so we certainly appreciate that. You will now have to suffer through 2 commercials because I didn't break through that. But that's all right. That's why we do it. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today are Green Mountain Grills. Now, what did I do with this? I was messing around with nonsense earlier today. So here's what I want to tell you about Green Mountain Grills. It's a brand that has been producing high-quality grills for over a decade. They offer a number of features that make them stand out from the competition, especially when compared to some of the other pellet cookers out there on the market. First, Green Mountain Grills are more portable and easier to transport. Their compact design, lightweight construction make them ideal for camping, tailgating, and other outdoor activities where portability is a must. Second, Green Mountain Grills are more affordable than some of the other cookers out there on the market, making them an excellent option for those who are on a budget. They offer high-quality grilling capabilities at a fraction of the cost of the premium brands without sacrificing performance. Third, of course, Green Mountain Grills' use of Wi-Fi connectivity to allow the users to control and monitor the cooking process from their smartphone or tablet. This feature provides an unprecedented level of convenience and also allows the user to cook food to perfection without having to physically be present at the grill. Fourth, Green Mountain grills are built to last. They made high-quality materials, and the company offers 3-year warranties on their grills. This gives customers peace of mind knowing that their investment is also protected. And finally, Green Mountain Grills offers excellent temperature control with a range from 150 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, higher if you use the pizza oven insert. This allows the user to cook a variety of different foods, from low and slow barbecued meats to the high-heat seared steaks, all on the same unit. In conclusion, Green Mountain Grills are a better choice than most of the other pellet cookers out there on the market for many reasons. For their portability, affordability, Wi-Fi connectivity, durability, and excellent temperature control, Green Mountain Grills offer a superior grilling experience at a price that can't be beat. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. Find a dealer near you and then take advantage. We're back to wrap the show after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
We thank Doug Scheiding for joining us for an extended segment here in the second hour. This portion brought to you by Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. A curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies, getting you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. 13 perfectly balanced flavors of rubs and seasonings, owner of Granny's Barbecue Sauce, purveyors of some of the best pellet cookers out on the market as well, like the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Cooker. If you have questions or you don't know what to order, call them 877-828-0727 or shop their website at bigpapasmokers.com. One of the things that I wanted to show everybody here, a guy whose house I bought, his name is Casey Wendell, drew me this picture. If you follow him on Instagram, I laid down a comment in a previous drawing, and I said, Casey, you should draw a guy cooking smash burgers on his flat top, and he did. And then he put the Barbecue Central show on it, and there's some houses in the background. So little did I know that Casey was such a brilliant artist. You can follow him on Instagram over at Casey Wendell. And maybe if you're into this kind of art stuff because it's cool and it has your show name on it, and that may or may not be me, but that guy has way more hair than I do. He'll give you whatever you want. You just drop your idea down there in the comments, and lo and behold, you might have a picture headed your way. Now, I did get in contact with him and said, hey, Casey, is this something you want to hold on to, or can I have it? 48 hours later, it was in my mailbox, all nicely protected, so certainly appreciate that. And I certainly appreciate the deal we were put together where I bought his house, except for the fact that what? Cats are pissing in the house. Yes, that's right. But we have towels in place. We might look for mixer tops, as Ron was talking about in the first hour. So who knows what's going to be happening at that point, but I'm very excited to talk about all of it. Now, there's some other things that I wanted to get to here in the open segment. So there's probably going to be an open segment next week, if I'm not mistaken. We have Sam, the cooking guy, coming in next week in the second hour. We have Malcolm Reed leading off the first hour. If you can believe it, we're already doing two segments, or the second segment of the year with Malcolm and Sam alike. There's also another guest that I am not remembering right off the top of my head for next week. So let me pull up the calendar here and see who we got. Of course, Ben Biebenroth from Boom's Pizza right here in Cleveland. Just opened about a week ago, and we'll see how they're doing and talk about his pizza philosophy and all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and make tracks to get out of here all the way back in the first. All right. We can actually just skip through all of this stuff real quick. No, don't want any of that. Nope. Here we go. All the way back in the first hour, it was Wes Wright, cookoutnews.com. And then in the second hour was Doug Scheiding, rowcookers.com. We had an open segment after Wes. You can catch that. Podcasts are coming starting tomorrow. Big show planned for you next week. As I just told you, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host, the proudest American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
Hi, this is Molly Storm from Stowe, Ohio, and you're listening to BBQ Central.